Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Nidhaya Hridi Vishweshvam Vidhaya Guru Vandanam Balanam Sukhabodhaya Kriyate Tarka samgraha. Any questions, clarifications on what we did last time, 2 weeks back? The videos uploaded. Okay, threefold linga. Kevala Anvay, Kevala Vyatireki, Anvay Vyatireki. Okay. Then the question of what is Paksha, what is Vipaksha, what is Sapaksha, etc. All clear? Okay. There is some racket coming from someone's phone, so I'm just muting everyone. If you have to ask a question, please unmute and ask. Okay. Okay. Now we come to a very important part in logic, what we call as defective reasoning, which is not always very evident. Like, remember the famous thing I used to ask in the class until I revealed the answer. A half open door is equal to a half closed door. Whether it's half open or half closed is the same point. Multiply both sides by 2, you will get open door is equal to closed door. Mathematically proved. Now, where is the defect in reasoning there? Because opening and closing is different direction. So you have to give a positive or a negative integer to that. So half open and half closed, one of them will have to be a minus, one of them will have to be a plus. Then when you are multiplying by 2, both cannot be the same. Minus 1 is not equal to plus 1. Therefore, like this, there can be logical fallacies. Okay. And it is important to understand logical fallacies. Otherwise, we will keep making mistakes in logic. That's why I said when we say we are logical, we are not always logical. Because we are not studied logic. We have got some idea of reasoning. But cause-effect relationship or an associative relationship, what is it? Like this guy saw, the eagle flew over the coconut tree and a coconut dropped. Right? How is that possible? Then after 2 days, he saw the same thing happening again. Eagle flew over and after another couple of days, again the same thing. So can you conclude, whenever the eagle flies over the coconut tree, a coconut will drop? You have not established a causative link. You only observed an associative link. Therefore, in observation and drawing conclusions, you have to be careful of these things. Okay. If you had a vyapti, whenever an eagle flies over the coconut tree, coconut is bound to drop. If that type of a vyapti was there, a general statement was there, then you can have linga paramarsha. You saw the Eagle flying, let him cross the coconut tree, he'll drop. But since such a causative thing is not there, there is no rule that every time the eagle will fly, he'll drop. In fact, over the week, plenty of times the eagle has been going. Nothing has happened. So like that, there will be a causative link has to be established in logic. So the defective reasoning, it is called hetu avabhasa. Hetu abhasa. Why hetu abhasa? An appearance of hetu, reasoning. But it's fallacious reasoning. Jnanam and jnana abhasa. Knowledge and what appears as knowledge, which may not be knowledge. Okay? So whenever you use the word abhasa, etc., means it's an appearance. Therefore, there is an appearance of reasoning, that's all. There is no real reasoning. Therefore, all errors are called hetu abhasaha. So in this hetu abhasaha, now this is one thing in an Indian mind, no? You will not only classify proper reasoning, you will also classify erroneous reasoning. For these reasons, so you will have a few classes of erroneous reasoning. Okay, so that's what he is saying here.
So one, is it abhasa or avabhasa?
Both mean the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. Therefore, savyabhichari, meaning along with vyabhichara it exists, meaning along with defect it exists. These defective reasoning are called what? Defective reasoning, hetu abhasa, is called savyabhichari. It is straying away from the fact. Okay? Viruddham, it is opposed to the fact. Sat pratipakshaha, okay, it is self-cancelling. Asiddham, unestablished. And bhadita, negatable. So 5 types of defective reasoning. What are they? He is explaining one by one. That's why I am not explaining it now. Okay. So let us take it savyabhichara. Savyabhichara meaning you are straying away from the reasoning. Savyabhichara hai cha anekantikaha. Anekantika means that which is deviating from the fact. That is threefold. Now within 5, the first one is threefold. Okay, what is that? Sadharanam, asadharanam, anusamhari beda. Common, uncommon and non-exclusive. Ye kya baat hai baba? First straying itself I have not understood. Now you have started classifying it further. Hold on, relax. We will deal with that. Okay. Let us take the common one first. Common, savyabhichara. Tatra sadhya abhava vritti sadharana anayantika. A reason that is given which is common, but it does not prove anything. The reason may be there, but does not prove what you are set out to prove. For example, he says, Yata parvato vanniman prameyatvat. The mountain has got fire because it is knowable. Either the mountain or the fire, both are knowable. It is knowable. All right. So you mean to say every knowable thing is to be on fire? Or should have fire on it? My hand is knowable. Fire hai kya? Therefore, that prameyatvat, the hetu that is given, is called sadharana savyabhicharaha. It doesn't prove. What you have set out to prove, that there is fire on this mountain, is not proved just because it is knowable. But if you had detected smoke and you have a vyapti, wherever there is smoke, there is fire, then there is very clean. That's the hetu, not a hetu abhasa. But the mountain is known, correct, mountain is known. Your statement that mountain is known is not wrong. It doesn't prove what you have to prove. The presence of fire on the mountain. Therefore, it is called sadharana savyabhicharaha. Okay, all right. Prameyatvasya vanni abhavaditi hridde vidyamanatvat. Prameyatvam is there in a lake where there is no fire. Therefore, knowability cannot be the reason for establishing fire. It's a simple case like that. When you are giving a reason, but the reason is not connected with what you have to prove. Can you think of any example like this? Come on guys, spend some time thinking. Thinking where you can give a reason.
Or can we say the sky has clouds?
Therefore,
There are clouds in the sky.
therefore,
It's not raining. It's not raining, but there are clouds in the sky. It's clouded.
no, that's only an observation. That's not a reason.
Okay.
That's an observation. That's not a reason. Reason to prove something.
Reason to prove something, but still it doesn't.
Okay, 1 second. This person is putting on weight, let us say. And I am giving a reason. He is putting on weight because he is a human being. Does it prove? Because all human beings need not put on weight. I mean, it doesn't look like that at first glance, but there is no proof that because you are a human being, you have to put on weight. If you look at Rohit, Sundar, Nirmala, Anusha, you know, or Nandakishore, you know this is not true. Yeah. So, yeah, as a human being, all right. But the reason that you are giving is not proving what you have to prove. He is putting on weight. Oh, he has a thyroid issue. Ah, okay. Wherever there is hypothyroid, there will be weight gain. Tendency to weight gain will be there. Clear enough. So that is a proving reason. The other reason will become sadharana avyabhichara. Common avyabhichara. Simple. So very often when we give reason, our reason are not exactly proving reasons. Now we are taking gross cases, but it can happen in subtle cases also. There is Ishvara. Why? Because my book says so. So everything that your book says is true. Supposing you prove 3 or 4 things are wrong in your book, finished. You will open to the possibility that your book is saying something wrong. Your book is saying that the earth is going around the sun, not the other way around. Then what are you going to take as true and not true? So many dogmatic stands don't stand the test of logic. That's why we call them dogmas. Or religion plays it safe by saying these are articles of faith for us. Okay, fine. But then don't come and try to logically argue with me. As an article of faith, I'll respect your faith. No issues for me. So there are a lot of things like this in life. There's a legal argument, scientific argument, which may look true but is not true. That is why anecdotal evidence is not considered true. Meaning your story, oh, some person it worked. But there is no study done whether it is working or not. It's only anecdotal. They can have this common problem, sadharana savyavichara. Okay. Clear? First one? The first one in the first one. Okay. First one is made up of three. If it is not clear, tell me. We will explore it. We are in no hurry. Understanding is more important than finishing a text.
Swamiji, when they say where there is an absence of a thing to be proved,
Yeah.
here then the premise is that you
The?
want to prove.
Yeah, what is to be proved has to be clear first. That's why he is sticking with that example. The example is Parvato Vaniman. He is sticking with that example because this is very clear. What has to be proved is that there is fire here. Because you can't see the fire. So Anumanam, you have to infer the fire. For inferring the fire, you need a reasoning. Now that reasoning may be faulty like in this one. This type of fault is called Sadharana Vyabichara.
So the linga of smoke is not
Yeah,
spoken about
exactly.
at all, right?
Yeah. The Linga Paramarsha is missed out. You have strayed away from the Linga Paramarsha. Now you are getting the Linga Paramarsha. You are straying away from Linga Paramarsha. Analysis of the Linga. The reflection of the Linga. Because the reflection of the Linga, the Hetu, the proper Hetu will come in. If that is not done and you are strayed away, like in this case. So straying away is from the Hetu and Linga. Yeah. Yeah. Then asadharana savyavicha. The uncommon one. Now what is the uncommon one? Sarva sapaksha vipaksha avataha paksha matra vritti asadharanam. It's a very funny one. That's why it's called asadharanam. Why? The reason is only found in the paksha. Paksha is what is to be proved. There is no similar or contrary cases. How can that be? Yataha shabdo nitya shabdatvat iti. Now he is giving you another thing to be proved. Shabdaha is nitya. It's this grammarian stand, okay? Shabdo nityaha. Why? Shabdatvat. He gave a reason. Shabdatvat. Shabdatvam hi sarvebhya nityebhya anityebhya sha vyavrutam shabdamatra vrittihi. Now this reason is a problematic reason. Why? Because Shabdatvam exists only in Shabda. It does not exist in any other Nitya Vastu or Anitya Vastu. Therefore, how can you give Shabdatvam as a reason? Shabdo Nitya Shabdatva. When you are saying something is Nitya, you should prove it separately. What is the linga for that? That's like saying Parvato Vaniman Parvatatvat. That means every mountain should become a volcano. Not true. This is applicable. Your reason that you are giving is only applicable to that object. Therefore, it is not demonstratable. Whereas look at it. Parvato Vanniman Dhumatvat. Demonstratable. Now you have Sapaksha. Sapaksha is wood fire. You have Vipaksha. Vipaksha is a water body. In Vipaksha it is not there, but in Sapaksha it is there. Whereas Shabdatvam is available only in the Paksha, no Sapaksha, no Vipaksha. How are you going to prove it? How are you going to demonstrate it? It will become just a straight statement. That's why it's called Hetu Abhasa. It looks like a logical statement. You have put it in a logical format. But just because you have put in a logical format doesn't mean it is logical. Shabdatvat is not a good enough argument. Clear? Okay. Then you have.
No, sir, this is not clear.
Tell me what is not clear.
This is Shabdatvam. Shabda.
What is to be proved there? Okay. What is to be proved? That Shabda is Nitya. That's the premise. No?
Okay, Shabda is Nitya.
So the Paksha is Shabdaha. And the what is to be proved is Nityatvam. What is the Hetu given? Shabdatvat. Now when a Hetu is given, you need a Vyapti. The Hetu has to depend upon a Vyapti. So there should be a Vyapti. Like Yatra Yatra Dhumaha Tatra Tatra Agni. It's a Vyapti. And it is demonstrable in wood fire. Now tell me, I am giving the reason Yatra Yatra Shabdatvam Tatra Tatra Nityatvam.
Not true.
Not true because there is no it's not demonstratable. There is no Sapaksha, no Vipaksha. Are you getting that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Others too also clear? Therefore, even though it looks like a logical statement, it is actually an illogical statement. Then, Anupasamhari Savyavichari Hetu. The third one. What is the third one? Anvya Vyatireka Drishtanta Rahitaha Anupasamhari. Anupasamhari reason is there is neither Anvya Vyatireka possible, Drishtanta also is not there. Such a reason is called Anupasamhari. There is no example. Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam also you can't establish. Yatha Sarvam Anityam Prameyatva. Some Vedantins are guilty of using this argument. Sarvam Anityam. Everything is Anityaha because Prameyatva. Because it's an object of my knowledge. But that's correct? No. It's not logically put. Why? Atra sarvasyapi pakshatvat drishtantaha nasti. Because you have made sarvam, everything, as the paksha. Then what is your drishtanta? Pot. But is pot included in everything or not included in everything? When you say everything, do you include the pot or you exclude the pot? Included, isn't it?
Yeah,
If you are including it, then what is your example? Sarvam anityam drishtatvat. It sounds so nice. Yeah. A logician looking at him, गद्दा कहीं का आया, लॉजिकल नहीं है ये, अनुपसंहारी. दृष्टांत किधर है इसके लिए? Whereas if you are saying deha anitya drishtatvat gatavat, is that logical? Deha, body, anitya drishtatvat, because it's seen by you, objectified by you. Yatha gataha, like a pot. That means the vyapti is what? Yatra yatra drishyatvam, tatra tatra anityatvam. Is it applicable? सोचो जरा. Tarka is meant to make you think.
Manasa is there.
Is it applicable?
Looks applicable.
It is applicable because you are saying the body is anitya. Can you all see and hear me? Can you all hear me or no? You can't see. Okay, okay. Just let me change over, okay? Okay, now fine. Okay, I think better now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so when you say Shariraha Anityaha, sorry, I am just muting everyone because it's too much of racket otherwise. So unmute and ask. When you say Shariraha Anitya, Drishyatva, the reason is Drishyatva. It's an object of your perception. For which there is an example, Yatha Gataha. Gata is objectifiable, it is Anitya. Sharira is objectifiable, Anitya. Is it a proper logic or not a proper logic?
This is logic. No?
It is logical, exactly.
It is
It is logical.
logic.
Now, if I replace deha and say sarvam anityam drishyatva, then what is the problem there?
No example.
No example, exactly. There is no example available because all the examples have become into sarvam now. Sarvam, the word sarvam will include all examples. Therefore, by making a paksha like that, there is no drishtanta left for you.
Swamiji, what happens if we say sarva karyaha anityam?
Then at least you are, then also is a problem because you cannot give another karya as an example.
But this is being used, isn't it?
Because there is no karyam left for you to give as an example.
But is this not being used as a logic?
It is, but it is not correct. It's
So
not
when
correct.
So when we say it in Vedanta, it is not proving logic, right?
Exactly. In fact, it is illogical. You can't make statements like that.
But we don't say it like this.
Huh? Yeah.
We don't say it like
Exactly. You don't say it like
this.
that.
The example is first individual, as you said. Individual examples are given. Therefore, all that is seen
Yeah.
is an
Therefore, in Vedanta, what we are trying to do is by examining half a dozen finite objects, drishyatvam, therefore, then you are saying, since it is true here, it is true in all other cases also. But that also is an extension. It's an extension of logic. Therefore, need not be true.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
so if we, in the previous example, as you said, sarira prameyatva, anitya, sarira anitya prameyatva. So we have for any object of perception
Yeah.
is anitya.
Yeah.
So this is the logic.
Correct.
But do we need to explain the logic also?
Yeah.
Vyapti jnana, right?
Now, what is the problem in this? What is the third type of what do you call problematic hetu, anupasamhari, where there is no example left because you use the word things like sarvam and everything. So it will come only when you are trying to make it all inclusive. All inclusiveness is not logical.
Yeah. My question is, when we say it's anitya, we say any object of perception is anitya.
Yeah.
We need to prove it also, right? That why any object of perception is anitya.
Then you have to prove it independently.
Okay.
You have to prove it
So
independently. Yeah.
Logic, then you have to prove the
Yeah.
logic also.
You have to give a separate logic then.
Okay.
Yeah.
When does it end?
When does it end?
In Pramana, no?
In fact, there is a very, very advanced text, okay, called Khandana Khadya, supposed to be written by a great scholar called Harshavardhana. There he says, whatever I say logically, you can negate. Whatever you say logically, I can negate. At the end of all negations, what is left behind? That is the Atma. It is mind-breakingly logical work, okay?
Yeah. So does that mean there is nothing called as proving logic?
No, there are certain things in the functional world, there are certain called proving logic and non-proving logic. No? Like whole of science is built upon proving logic, isn't it? So there are things which has to be proved logically.
Yeah, but it becomes speculative, no?
Yeah.
They prove logic, but it's speculative. So
Correct. Any logic, any inferential conclusion can be inherently speculative. Why? Because you are concluding something on the basis of your data. So there is a leap there from perception to a logical conclusion, inferential conclusion. Logic here we are referring to inferential conclusions. So because we are studying inference here. So in that there is a leap there. So what we are trying to do is trying to make it as accurate as possible by looking into forms of error that is possible. All these three forms that we have seen is called savyabhicharaha, straying away from the fact.
So Swamiji, this just implies that this error, right, can be made if you step out of the boundaries, right? That's what it really says.
Exactly.
Right? Because all logic operates within one framework. It's
Within a
not
framework, yes.
universal. That's it.
And you have to stay within that framework. Correct? What is the basic framework for logical statements? Sapaksha should be there, vipaksha should be there, drishtanta should be there, linga paramarsha should be there, therefore vyapti should be there. Simple. This is the basic framework for all logical conclusions. Now you realize when I say we Vedantins are much more objective, what we mean? Because you are looking at a thing, is it logical, not logical? People hawa mein baat kar raha hai. People are talking there. Hawa mein baat kar raha hai. They are not logical. Say anything and say you are being logical. ये कैसा होता है? नहीं होता है. Okay. So now we have seen one defective reason, one hetu avabhasa called savyapichara, which is sadharanam, asadharanam and anupasamhari. Clear up to now? Abhi tak clear hai, no problems. Ready to see one more? Okay. Next one is called viruddham, opposite reasoning. Okay. Sadhya abhava vyaptaha hetu viruddha. The self-contradictory reason. Where the reason that you are giving is contrary to what you want to prove. Like for example, yatha, he is giving an example. Shabdaha nityaha. Shabda is nitya. Okay. Kritakatvat iti. Why? Because produced by you, na? Huh? Anything is produced is finite. Therefore cannot become nitya. Right? Anything that is produced is a finite entity. Therefore cannot be nitya. Then how are you saying Shabda nitya? Because there is sakartakam. Because it's produced. So he given an opposite reason. Kartakatvam hi nityatva abhavena anityattvena vyaptam. Kritakatvam or karyatvam establishes the opposite. That it is finite. It is subject to destruction. Anityaha, not nityaha. Sometimes an opposite reason can be given. And then all the opponent has to say is, for the same reason I say it is not true. Legal इसमें होता है क्या नहीं है?
Yeah, actually, I was just going to say this is very common because this is what we find out from the pleadings, you know.
Yeah.
That, some statement is made and then exactly the contrary is made
Yeah.
in like this is something very,
Yeah.
very hard.
Yeah. In a way, they are doing ours also.
Yeah.
If they are giving the logic of what they are saying is not true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing how people walk into this trap of Viruddha logic. Amazing. So all this has to be kept in mind in a debate. So after this we will have a live debate sometime, okay? Then we will see what all reason is being used, non-reason is being... that's how you test it out, no? Yeah. It's like going to a gym. And the gym instructor told me once, I wanted to lose a couple of kilos. This is long back. Okay. And the gym trainer is saying, what? That you have to. He gave me a diet, put it like this. He gave me a diet first. I said, this is much more than what I eat. This is much more than what I am eating. But sir, you have to eat more to lose weight. I said, wow. You have to eat more to lose weight. Does that support weight gain or weight loss?
Logically gain, but depends on what you are eating.
What you
The
eat,
calories
yeah.
will
Ha. Therefore, supposing he was saying instead that the same amount of calories you spread throughout the day so that your metabolism is always boosted. That is different. Because there you are trying to push up your metabolism. But his statement was what? You have to eat more to lose more. That's an illogical statement.
It's like advertisers who say that you can save more.
Yeah, spend to, yeah.
You spend more.
बचत ही बचत है. Viruddha logic this is. How can I be saving when I am spending money on your product? No, our cost is this, competitor's cost is this. Both costs are what you think you can sell it at. All this is Viruddha logic. The logic you are giving opposite reason. Yeah. And by the way, that eating more, losing more didn't work for me. Okay. So, Viruddham taking the opposite stand. That also doesn't always work. Okay. This is simple, everyone recognizes this argument, correct? It can happen in very subtle manners where you don't really realize what you are saying. Yeah. Like the dietitian in the gym didn't really understand what she was trying to say. Therefore, presented it as an illogical statement. Yeah. So, Viruddha Hetu. Okay. Think we can see one more? If it is getting too heavy, tell me, we'll stop here.
Swamiji, better recap than moving ahead.
Yeah, okay. So let us recap then. All right. Quickly go over what we have done. We are dealing with the subject matter of Hetu Avabhasa, defective reasoning. It appears as a reason, but it is not a reason. That was fivefold. Okay. That was Savyabhicharaha, straying, Viruddha, opposite, Sat Pratipakshaha, which will self-cancelling, Asiddha, which can't establish anything, Badita, negatable. 5 categories. Out of the 5 categories, we saw 2. First was Savyabhichara. Savyabhichara will have Sadharanam, Asadharanam and Anupasamhara. 3 types of Sadvyabhichara, straying away. Okay. Like for example, you strayed away from the thing to be proved when you are saying the mountain has fire because it is knowable. Knowable is an adjective that can be used to things having fire, things not having fire. It's just hawa mein baat hai, talking in the air. This is called sadharanam. Asadharanam is when you don't have any example to prove it, or the reason given exists only in the sapaksha. There is no, only in the paksha. There is no sapaksha or vipaksha to be. Shabda nitya shabdatvat. No sapaksha, no vipaksha. Because shabda is there only in shabdatvam. Shabdatvam is there only in shabda, not anywhere else. So that cannot be the reason to prove something. And the third one was where you have made your initial paksha so broad. This is where the problem is. Your paksha is so broad that there is no example left. Sarvam anityam drishyatvat. Everything is anityam because it is objectifiable. Correct. Like what? Like there is no example left. Why? Because you included everything everything you have made as a paksha. Whereas you are saying deha anitya drishyatvat yata gataha, it makes sense. Because your paksha is now limited to deha. Therefore, a sapaksha, gataha, is available. Are you getting the idea? Or
why it is erroneous logic? Whatever knowable, that is anitya.
like what? Give me an example. Any logic you give, therefore, when you are saying because it is knowable, what you are saying is wherever there is knowability, there is anityatvam.
Of course, yes.
Huh?
Yes, no?
Now that has to be given as an example. Like what?
So it is like the pot is knowable, that is it is
Okay.
right?
What is no? What are you applying it now to? Sarvam, everything. When you are applying it to everything, where is your example? Everything has become paksha. Your pot has also become paksha now.
Okay. Now whatever the perceptible, whatever
Yeah.
that is okay.
That's why it's
I have
that's
to move from the perception.
yeah. So you have to see very clearly what you make paksha and what is sapaksha, what is vipaksha. Only then you are being logical. Otherwise you are making what is known as overgeneralized statements. Like, let us take that statement for better understanding. Everything is anityam. It's an overgeneralized statement. How do you make a statement everything is anityam unless you are taking a stand on nitya vastu? To see motion, you should be in a framework which is free from that relative motion, isn't it? How do you know the car is moving or the road is moving?
Relative happen.
You can't. When you go to the airport, what happens? There are areas you can just step and you will walk. No? So, are you walking or the road is walking? The road is moving, no? You are saying still. It's a flat elevator, like, You are on track. You just have to stand there because you are tired walking. And there are some characters, impatient characters. They will get on there also and try to walk faster on. As if they are charging that the luggage is going to come out first. Indian airport, it will take time for the luggage to come out. But we are better than other airports, okay? Last time I went to UK, I had to wait 3 hours for my luggage to come out. But luckily, the 3 hours it took for immigration. So it was okay, fine. So you have to be in a relative framework which is free. So even to say Sarvam Anityam, you have to take a standpoint on something which is Nityam. How can you say Sarvam Anityam? You are muted, Nandakishore.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Atma is Nityam and it is knowable.
Okay. Are you saying Atma Prameyaha Yata Gataha?
No.
Exactly. So how is it knowable then?
Swami, here we are operating within the framework of
Yeah,
inference.
exactly.
We cannot use it from,
That's why Atma is not an inferential conclusion.
Acha.
Yeah. Yes, it is self-evident. Therefore, then the whole thing will become different. Then you are moving outside the framework of logic. Which is true because to create a logical framework, I have to be outside that logic. Fundamental point missed by all logicians.
Swamiji, how do they miss it? Because a lot of what they are saying points to that, right?
Yeah. Now you know why I wanted you all to study Tarka. It's becoming more evident now, isn't it? Because you will see the glory of Tarka, you will see the limitations of Tarka both. Therefore, you will be able to use it as a weapon whenever you have to use it.
But they are able to defend it because their starting premise of classification of substances
Yeah,
itself,
exactly. Exactly like science. You have started with a basic premise of subject-object division.
which then goes back to, for me to know this,
Yeah.
Ishvara had to see all this.
Exactly.
I mean,
Because even science does the same thing. It assumes reality as what is experiential by your 5 sense organs. That is reality. So it is actually following the existential school of philosophy. Science is very existential in its outlook. That's why it is not involved in solving the human problem of loneliness, isolation, etc. Science is not involved in it because there is no solution. Existential philosophy says there is no solution. And science also says there is no solution, only manage all this. Yeah. Religion also falls into the same trap. Adam, one rib has been taken away to create a woman, okay, from Adam. And he is in pain. So he is looking at God and cribbing. He created this whole universe out of nothing, but to create a woman, he wanted my rib. What is this? These are all jokes, but yeah. I mean, there is other symbolisms behind it, okay? Religious symbolism is different. So I can explain that with using the religious symbolism. It doesn't fall into the logical framework, that's all. But that's okay. Okay. You have to understand where logic works, where logic doesn't work. Where is applicable, where is not applicable. Because remember, inference is, even in Tarka, inference is one of the means of knowledge. But Tarkikas believe as though it is everything. They behave as though it is everything. Therefore, in a way, Tarka contributed by encouraging debates and discussions. So it helps, na? Tat chintanam, tat katanam, anyonyat tat prabodham. It helps. You logically challenge things. That's good. Your understanding becomes more clear. You understand where the logic stops, where the pramana starts, where the pramana stops, where the logic starts.
Swamiji, can I ask a question on this?
Yeah?
So when we are studying the Vedanta, or we take the Shabda Pramana, and then to understand that we use different logics.
Yeah.
If, for example, we take an example of the spider to understand the primordial
Ishvara, yeah, yeah.
cause can come from the same Ishvara. So that is something which is there in the world and I can see.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm saying I'm self-evident, Atma is everywhere, so I negate everything because what I am aware of, I am not. So what logic I'm using, because that's kind of more of a factual thing than the logic. So how am
So
I
you are only
negating?
you are only explaining your factual experience logically, that whatever you see, you are not. Whatever you objectify, you are not. Because there is a confusion. I see a donkey, I am not a donkey is very clear. I see this body, but I am not the body is not very clear. I see the phone, it is not me, very clear. The same thing, I see the body, not clear. Therefore, to clarify that, we use the logic to negate certain things, which is fine. It is evident, yeah, it is evident. That is why you don't need for Anatma, Anatma, Viveka to really speaking come to a teacher. That's why it's mentioned as one of the qualifications. Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Nitya, Nitya, Viveka. You can do it on your own. If you are a sufficiently evolved student, you can do it on your own. Most of us didn't. That's a different thing. I didn't. I mean, I had some experience about it, but I didn't. Not completely. But when it was said, it was very clear. Oh, yeah, that's correct. After all, it's only the body. I can push my body to do anything I want. It's an instrument. Yeah, yeah, clear. Mind, yeah, I can change my thinking, my feelings. I've done it, handled it. Okay, no problem. Are you getting the idea? It's not very evident because of our association of the body and mind is so intimate. Even though it's so evident that I'm seeing it, I still take it as me. Therefore, we need that logic to prove actually what is evident. So, there, what the logic is doing is only making explicit what is implicit in your experience. It's not pramana at work. Pramana comes after that. After Drigdrishya Viveka is over, then the pramana starts. Alright, then who am I? There pramana starts. Okay, I'm not this, not this, not this, not this. Fine. Then what am I? That, unfolding that is where the pramana comes in. Before that is logic. So where logic works, where pramana works, where do you see? Think it over, think it over. Good place to stop.
I have one.
Yeah? Shoot.
I have one doubt.
Shoot.
I'm stuck in this Anupasamhar, whether I should do it
Yeah,
now
yeah.
or I should.
Bring it.
No, I'm just quoting from Shankara Bhashya.
Hmm.
That Nasato Vidyate Bhavaha. Yata Gatati Samsthanam Chakshusha Nirupyamanam Rudyatireki व्यतिरेकेण अनुपलब्धेः असत् तथा सर्वो विकारः कारणव्यतिरेकेण अनुपलब्धेः असन्.
Correct.
Now, is it, it's an anupasamhari
No.
savya vichara?
There is different because he is saying, look at it, what is the paksha to be proved?
Every product is an asat.
Every product is non-different from the cause.
Not different from cause and
But that is self-evident also. He is only pointing out what is self-evident by giving you an example. He says, now look at it. He says, now if you have to put it logical framework, okay? Karyam karanat abhinnam yatha gataha. Correct. Gata is not separate from clay. Therefore, from the karanam, the karyam is non-bhinnam. So what Shankara is doing it is, the final resolution is put into one line of the Bhashya. Therefore, he is putting the final resolution as one line there. So if you are really studying the Bhashyam, you have to go each Bhashyam, see what is the logic behind, and then hear what is the logic behind. That's why those of you who have attended the Bhashya reading I did in the Matunga class, just a reading, okay? Because we really have to understand all this has to be said, a lot of things have to be said. Like when I explained the Brahma Sutra Chatusutri Bhashya, how much time it took? Took a year for it, isn't it? Yeah. Because so much of logic is there hidden. He is giving you the final conclusions. So other things, and if you have to put it in Tarka language, every statement can be put in Tarka language. And then final conclusion will be what Shankara has written down.
Swamiji, here
Yeah?
this becomes proving logic, right? The
Yeah,
karanam,
yeah.
abhinnam.
Actually, more than proving, it is only understanding what is there as a fact.
Also, can you tell where this line stands now? That truth is beyond logic, that is understood.
Yeah.
But it should not go against logic because
Illogical statement, exactly.
it should not go against logic.
True?
So this, so logic becomes a
Tool.
a support.
Yeah.
A support to.
For my understanding. It's a support for my understanding. That's all. So you can understand straight without the logic, fine.
Oh, okay. So this again is a statement where all the logic, all the support is for the mind and the body, which is in India.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Logic and mind are not really separate from each other. The paradigm of the mind is a logical framework.
Okay, so this logic or this support is for Jnanistha.
Yeah.
Jnanam is already in some.
Jnanam is the pramana. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why instead of teaching this Tarka in the beginning, I teach it later. Just so that you'll get more precise in your thinking. And then think on Vedanta in that more precise terms. First, I want you to be familiar with the Vedanta paradigms. Then get into the logic. Then see where it works, where it doesn't work. Then the whole thing can be very nice, beautiful in your mind. Pakka, acha hai.
Swamiji, too much logical thinking and too much arguments, that means that also shows a little lack of Shraddha also, no?
Not necessarily. It shows a way of thinking, a way of people's mind functioning, that's all.
Actually, it tests your Shraddha in a sense.
Hmm?
It tests your Shraddha.
Intensity, it can indicate intensity of Shraddha also. I am so Shraddha, I want to know whatever the cost. Therefore, I am willing to thrash it out, argue it out because I want to know. Whereas if your Shraddha is not that keen, you will say, अरे यार मगजमारी मत करो ना मेरे ये बस इतना बस हो गया. So you have to discover the joy of thinking. Buddhists are the other way around. They say you have to discover the joy of non-thinking. Because for them Shunyata is important. For us Satyajnanam Anantam is important, not Shunyata. Therefore the paradigm difference comes in.
Swamiji, in the court of law, the worst of the case when the client wins, like, the kind of shraddha that increases, and the best of the case, like, one loses, so it's all karma, play, and shraddha, so it's all such a mixture, so
Correct.
just answering to Sunita's question. So
It's
it's
how well you have
besides
presented
logic-
something or not presented something. It
Yeah,
all comes
so
down to that.
Yeah, so besides logic,
Yeah.
it's all a mixture of karma phala and shraddha and everything, so.
Correct. It's true. Because that's life. Okay,
And
good.
there's a human being who is doing justice, so at the end of the day, yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you
So
so
his
much.
bias comes in. Yeah. His bias comes in. You think the judges don't have a bias? They can have a huge bias. Depending on his background. Hopefully, he has studied law enough to keep his bias at side. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like their famous judgment. We are not here to correct historical wrongs. The constitution does not correct historical wrongs. Of course not, constitution corrects historical wrongs. The whole idea of reservations came to correct a historical wrong. What are you saying? I mean, I dare a constitutional expert to prove me otherwise. That the reservation is not meant to correct a historical wrong. Because it's caste based. That's why it becomes correction of historical wrongs. If it was poverty based, it's not historical wrong. Yeah. I don't know law. I know my logic all right. I don't know law. I'm not an expert in law. But my logic is there. So if people make a statement, I can examine it logically. I mean, effortlessly, it just flows through. And I enjoy being illogical also sometimes, okay? One has to do that. For that, you need to fall in love, then you will be fine. Okay. Om Tat Sat. Take care.